The following video is a review of a collectible with a manufacturer's recommended age of 14 to 15 years. This collectible has many sharp edges and small pieces that are choking hazards for children. As a result, this video is intended for adult collectors only. What's up, Lantern fans? It's the Emerald Enthusiast, coming at you with another Green Lantern product review. This time I'm taking a look at the DC Collectibles Icons action figure of Green Lantern John Stewart. Let's have a look at the package details. It says DC Comics on the side. It says Icons with the Green Lantern logo in the O. It says Green Lantern John Stewart on this side. There's a Green Lantern symbol on the top. Product information on the bottom, and on the side it says DC Icons, and this is specified as the Mosaic costume. On the back we see the other figures who are available in this wave. Here is a full body product shot of those figures. The visuals were designed by Ivan Rice with sculpting by Paul Harding. Although this isn't my favorite Green Lantern costume design, I am a fan of this figure. I do think that too much space was devoted to the accessories over here. I think those could have been positioned in a different manner. However, I do like this box style of packaging. And I like that the Green Lantern symbol was integrated into the Icons font on the front. And with all that being said, now it's time to bust this figure out of the package and see what's inside. Here is the figure free of the outer packaging, but still bound to the inner plastic. DC Collectibles also included this instruction sheet for all four figures. Even though the accessories are pretty self-explanatory, this is still a nice touch. And here we see John Stewart out of the package and ready to rumble. This figure is certainly a mixed bag. There are many positives, however, there are areas that could have used serious improvement. So let's take a closer look at the loose details of this figure now. This figure comes with a plethora of accessories, one of which is the personal power battery. And this is extremely well done. I really like this paint choice as well as this translucent plastic. This is how I wish that all Green Lantern personal power battery accessories were done. There's the Green Lantern symbol on the top, but that translucent plastic is very appreciated. Next up, we have the alternate set of bare forearms. I'll demonstrate later how these port onto the arms. And you can see the ring here on the bare hand. The Emerald Energy accessories are used with this alternate hand. There's a hole there, and these accessories port into that hole. Here is one of the energy effects. I really like the way this looks. And here is this second energy effect. I really appreciate this translucent plastic, as well as all of the sculpting on these. They really reflect the Green Lantern energy. And the third ring effect is this starburst pattern. I actually have 3 of these figures, and the one that is currently on my shelves is displayed with this effect, and I think it just looks fantastic. And I'll be putting these on the figure later in this review. Let's have a look at the lower body now. And I really like this paint choice. This metallic green looks outstanding. The black sections of the uniform are also very glossy, and I really appreciate that. There's some excellent sculpting on the quadriceps and the calf muscles. In terms of lower body articulation, the figure has double jointed knees, so you can get John into a very deep running pose if you wish. The ankles move back and forth, and there is also plenty of pivoting, so I'm appreciative of that as well. This figure has the drop-down joints in the hips, so that does enhance the articulation. You can get him to kick forward that far. You can get him to kick outward that much, and he does step back. However, this does make the hips a little fragile. His leg was actually completely detached when I opened the packaging, and I had to use a screwdriver to eventually get the ball joint to pop back in place. So I won't advise you to not enjoy the articulation, but be very careful when you do. Let's have a look at the torso now. And there's a lot of things to like about it, but it does look a little weird because DC Collectibles used the double crunching torso joints. So it looks like John has these really large obliques. There's also a little bit of paint sloppiness on my figure here. There's a little bit of extra white paint along the trapezius area. But with that being said, I really like the sculpting in the abdominals as well as the symbol here on the chest. The symbol is sculpted, and I really appreciate that. And the pectoral muscles look excellent as well. In terms of articulation, you can get the figure to crunch forward this much. I feel like my figure is a little tight, but I don't want to use too much force and maybe damage the figure. You can get him to rock back that much, so that's helpful for a flying pose. The movement from side to side is minimal because this crunching joint is not like a swiveling joint, so it's really not made to move in those directions. Now we'll take a closer look at the arms. The biceps look a little weird, and that has to do with the articulation. There is good sculpting on the triceps. The hands have been executed well. I do have some criticisms of the ring, but I will talk about that in a little while. Despite the weirdness with the end of the biceps, there is still some excellent sculpting in this area. In terms of articulation, the figure has double jointed elbows. You can get them to fold that much. There's a bicep swivel on both arms. You can raise the arms up from the sides that much, and they do rotate outward. There's good movement at both of the wrists, and you can get the arms to rotate around 360 degrees. Here's a look at the ports that allow you to change out the forearms. Here is the figure with the alternate set of bare forearms. And I do have the same issues with the ring on this hand as I do on the gloved hand. Overall, these are sculpted well. The look is a little odd, but it is accurate to the story. All of the hands are on these hinged pegs, and I've heard some collectors complain about fragility in this area, and it certainly feels that way to me, so be very careful when you're changing out the hands. Here is the figure with one of the energy effects, and again, this just ports into the empty hole on that particular hand. I really like the sculpting on this as well as this translucent green plastic. This is definitely an attractive accessory. Here's another one of the ring effects, and it looks like it's exploding out from the ring. I really appreciate the way that this looks. There's plenty of superb sculpting here. Green Lantern collectors should be very excited by these accessories. Here is the Starburst effect, and this is my favorite of the three energy effects. This is just a stroke of genius. This looks superb. Now, the edges of this accessory are sharp, so be careful there. It also feels like you could chip or snap the ends of this, so be very careful when you're handling this accessory. Here's a closer look at both ring hands, and I will give credit to DC Collectibles for sculpting the rings. And the paint applications are tight as well, but these are undersized and not sculpted with the Green Lantern symbol, so I would say these are mediocre at best. Now we'll take a closer look at the head sculpt, and this is not my favorite, however there are things to like about it. There's some excellent sculpting in the jaw and brow areas. You can see the intensity on the face, so I do appreciate the look that they've given this figure. It's realistic in many ways. I think the hair looks good. Here's a look at the back of the head. And again, this is accurate to the story. However, I feel that there are several other John Stewart head sculpts that better capture the essence of the character. The articulation is also a little subpar. You can get the figure to look side to side, but unfortunately he doesn't look up. He looks down a little, and there's a minor amount of head tilting here. But for a collector-centric figure like this, I feel like DC Collectibles could have offered us more. Here is the figure next to the DC Universe Classics Green Lantern's Light 5-pack John Stewart, as well as the McFarlane Endless Winter John Stewart. As you can see, the Icons figures don't really scale well with other lines. The body mold on the Icons figure is much smaller than that of the DC UC figure, and the Icons figure doesn't scale well with the McFarlane figures at all. As you can see, the McFarlane figure is substantially larger. Despite my criticisms of this figure, I am very happy to have it in my collection. I only wish that the DC Icons line would have continued longer and we would have gotten more Green Lanterns in it. If you'd like to know my thoughts on how this figure stacks up against other John Stewart figures of similar size, make sure to check out my John Stewart action figure comparison video. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below and add it to the playlist. This figure isn't easy to find at a decent price now. However, if you're a collector of all things Green Lantern as I am, I still think you'll be satisfied if you add this figure to your collection. I certainly hope you have enjoyed this review. If so, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for some articulation shots, and also remember to catch me on the Emerald Echo podcast, which is part of Multiverse Musings, the vidcast, and that's available right here on YouTube. And I'll be back with more Green Lantern-related content soon. But until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching.